Week 15. Let's do it. We got the Minnesota Vikings this week, 6-7 and 0-4 in the NFC North. Minnesota's a winning team outside of the NFC North, and also means that they struggle mightily within the division. Let's delve into the game here. Let's look at the storylines going into this one. I think on the Lions side, really two things. Are the Lions gonna look past Minnesota, which would make no sense whatsoever, but you always got to worry about that when you got the better team who's got playoffs in mind, that, you know, having a bad team come into town, you got to worry about that. But I don't think that happens. And last week was went a little rocky, but I don't think that'll happen this week against Minnesota, especially with it being a division rival and everything. And then two, the other big story is Sue. I guess there's a sickness going through the locker room right now, and Sue got it pretty bad. He was out of practice yesterday, out of practice today, so it's kind of nerve-wracking a little bit. Obviously, without Fairley too, you know, it would be a huge hit if we didn't have Sue up the middle, especially if you're on a team that likes to run the ball a lot. But if he's playing, which I still think he is, I think he'll tough it out. I mean, if need be, he'll just puke on the sidelines in between or whatever, but I think he'll play, but it's still something to keep an eye out on for the next couple days to see if, you know, what they're saying about him. I saw his article on MLive. If you don't check out MLive, pretty good site, everyday updates, but pretty damn good article that came out, I think, Monday, something like that, Monday or Tuesday. Some good stats. I mean, I don't even know if I really need to do this video and just show you this link, because this is some pretty cool stats here. Like I said, Bridgewater and the Vikings are 0-4 against the division, but he missed one of the games, so he is only 0-3 against the NFC North, 4-1 outside of the NFC North. So, I mean, he could end up being a pretty damn good quarterback. He's beating some other teams. But his QBR, which is, if you don't know, the ESPN quarterback ranking system, starts from 0 is the lowest, and then 100 is the best you could get. His average is 15.3 in that 3 NFC North games. That is horrible. 15, that's not good. And remember, we sacked him 8 times last time we went to Minnesota, and now they're coming to the den. I don't know about that, but his touchdown interception ratio, he has 3 touchdowns to 5 picks within the NFC North, and he has 5 touchdowns and 2 picks outside of the NFC North. So it's pretty alarming, you know, if you're a Vikings fan watching this, how poorly he is against the NFC North. The other thing, too, is their pass offense. A little bit into the matchups here. The Minnesota Vikings ranked number 30 in pass offense, which is not very good when you're going up against a team who can stop the rush as good as Detroit can. Detroit's only given up 62.8 rushing yards a game. That's insane. That's crazy low. I mean, the last 2 weeks combined was 39 yards. I think Tampa had 26 last week, and Chicago only had 13 the week before that. So teams aren't even trying to run, at least the last 2 weeks. But I'd be hard pressed to believe that Minnesota wouldn't come in and at least try to establish a run, because they know that they can't pass it to beat us, but they're going to have to. So you'll see in the prediction how that fares. You know, look at the matchups, like I said, the Lions are 9th in passing. So they get 265 yards per game. So a top 10 is pretty good, but then on the other hand, that's where Minnesota's strength is. They are 6th in pass defense, only giving up 221 yards per game. It's pretty good. I mean, they gave up 127 on the ground, so I think this is going to be a game where you're going to see a lot of Bush, a lot of Bell, hopefully a little bit of Riddick. You know, he didn't play, I think, 1 snap last week, so hopefully we see him more with Bush a little nicked up. Which brings me to another point about Reggie. I don't understand all the hate here. Like, if you listen to ESPN 961, Western Michigan sports radio, Sean Baligian talks about it all the time. Anyone that's upset with what Bush is right now is completely, it's on them. I mean, there's a reason he's on his 3rd team, and why we were able to get him for so cheap. Everyone says, oh, he's expensive. He's not. We're giving him, I mean, he signed a 4-year, $16 million contract. For a name like Reggie Bush, that's not that much. And he's always been nicked up. He's always made these dumb plays in the game where he dances too much. But of all the three backs that we have, the only back that has a chance to break an 80-yard touchdown is Reggie Bush. I love Reggie Bush. I mean, he makes some plays that piss you off. But if you go back and look at that Tampa game, it was late in the second quarter. Lions had, I think it was 3rd and 3 inside the 10. And Stafford throws a swing pass. And the guy, dives at Reggie's legs, hit him in the ankle, like almost immediately. And he was able to break that tackle and have enough wiggle to get around the next like 2 or 3 guys and get the first down. I don't think that play's made by either of the other 2 running backs, whether it's Joique Bell or Theo Riddick. So you have to, for all the times that you don't like what Reggie does, you have to look at that and say, okay, that's a play that only Reggie can make in our backfield. I'm saying in the NFL. I'm saying in our backfield. So I love Reggie Bush. I don't understand the hate. I guess if you thought he was going to come in and be a LaShawn McCoy and get 1,500 yards rushing every year or something like that, then I guess I could see why you'd be upset. But for what he is, and now that even when he does play, Joique Bell still gets most of the carries, I think that's how it should be. And why I think when he is ready to go, we'll be fine, because Theo Riddick is basically the exact same thing, except without the speed that Bush has. That's really how I feel with Bush. Injuries. Looking at the injury report, I said before, Sue has missed practice the last couple days because of sickness. Josh Bynes, he practiced this morning, but he was out the last couple weeks, the linebacker. Fairley's not playing, of course. Reggie's limited. He's expected to play. Slay's limited. Waddle's limited. Tahir Whitehead's limited. And Calvin's full. So I think all those guys play. I don't think there's going to be any scratches this week. On the other side, on Minnesota, Anthony Barr hasn't practiced. He's their first-round rookie. Sharif Floyd hasn't practiced. He's a big defensive tackle. Jerome Felton, if you guys remember, is the next line. He's limited. And Harrison Smith. Those are really the big injury people. So we'll see. This is still early, the injury report. The final one doesn't come out for another hour and a half. You have to check back. Check NFL.com, whatever, for the injury report. Bottom line, I mean, the only way people are saying this game is close is because it's a rivalry game. But if you look at any of the matchups, Minnesota wants to run the ball. No one runs the ball in Detroit. It's in Detroit. We had no offense the last time we played them, and it was still won 17-3. Teddy Bridgewater gets sacked a crazy amount of times. That offensive line is not just Bridgewater, but all the quarterbacks for Minnesota. They've played 3, of course, have been sacked more than Stafford has, and we know how much Stafford's been sacked. So that line is just atrocious. The fact that the game, like I said, is in Detroit, it's just going to be even worse. I don't know if we'll get 8 sacks, but it's going to be just, the stat might not be there, but the effect will be the same, whether it's hurries, hits, all that kind of stuff. They had McKinnon last time we played, the running back. He's on IR, so they're down to their 3rd string running back. Their number 1 receiver is a rookie out of Grand Valley, undrafted guy that they pulled off the practice squad because Cordell Patterson hasn't been anything. For as good as he was last year, and how electric he was, he's been absolutely nothing this year. Hopefully this isn't the game where he finally decides to show up. But they just have no offensive weapons. They're going to be on the field a lot, or the defense is going to be on the field a lot, because I don't think the offense can be able to do anything. I think the Lions are going to get a few turnovers, get short field, and I think they're just going to run the score up. I know they've had a couple blowouts the last couple weeks, and 3 in a row is going to be kind of tough. But on paper, this looks like a blowout, and I think it will be. It would be one thing, like next week, I think we win that one. Obviously I'll go over that next week. We're going to win that one, I think. But I'm not going to sit here and predict a 40-point victory or anything like that. But this week being at home, and it could be Sue's last home game if they don't re-sign him. It could be the last one of the year, so the crowd, is going to be going crazy. There's just no way of anything that I can see this game not being a Lions blowout. I know it's a division game, and people say division games are tough. I get that, but it's not in Minnesota. This is in Detroit. Lions need the victory. If they win the next 2 games, they make the playoffs. they clinch a division spot if they win the next 2 games, regardless of what happens. Other than one caveat, if the Philly Dallas game this Sunday night is tied, then that we would need one of them to lose, the lesser of the 2 teams to lose again. But regardless, prediction, I think the Lions win this. I'm going to go all out, 38-7. I think they're get a touchdown at some point, whether it's early, first drive, whatever, when there's scripted plays and everything clicks right or whatever, and then Terrell Austin's going to figure it out. Or we're going to have them shut out for 3 quarters and they'll get a garbage one in the end. Either way, I know a lot of people don't like to predict blowouts because they don't happen very often. But if this offense continues to play the way they have and that defense is still dominant like they are, what can you put your head to say that Minnesota is going to even come close in this game? They need to run the ball with their third-string running back against a bad offensive line. Going up against the number 1 run defense in the league, and in sacks, I think they're in the top 5. So even when they do need to pass, Bridgewater isn't going to have any time. So I guess the only thing that you could say to keep this game close is the Lions are going to have to play poorly. They're going to have turnovers. They're going to have sloppy play at the receivers again, giving up long plays on defense, which I don't see any of that happening. Obviously, it doesn't mean it's not going to happen. I'm just saying I can't see any of that happen. Just looking on paper, I don't see how this game's not a blowout. So, you could say I'm a homer or slappy, any of that kind of stuff, but 38-7, that's my prediction. NFC North, New Orleans at Chicago. I'm going to have to go to New Orleans. If you didn't see this week, the Bears offensive coordinator had a nice tearful apology to the team for ripping on Jay Cutler to NFL Network. I mean, that whole organization's a train wreck. I mean, it's them in Washington. I mean, I don't know which one's fighting worse to try to be more of a joke. And now they don't have Brandon Marshall either. They put him on IR. I don't see them winning another game this year. I mean, yeah, they played Minnesota the last game of the year, but they're not, I don't know. So I got New Orleans in that one, even though they're not very good either. But at least they don't have all the ridiculous crap that Chicago's going through. Then the second game, Green Bay at Buffalo. Obviously going with Green Bay. But I think it will be a little bit closer. If you remember, Green Bay went into Minnesota and barely won that one. I think they won by 4. So Minnesota on the road against a pretty good front 4 on defense. And I think if they get pressure up the middle, I think Green Bay is gonna struggle. They'll still win the game, but I don't think it's gonna be a blowout like people probably think. So New Orleans and Green Bay are my 2 picks in the NFC North, along with Detroit. And then the playoff picture, I'll post it below. I did a playoff scenario thing today. Like I said earlier, Lions win the next 2 games and they make the playoffs. So they got to beat Minnesota, they got to beat Chicago to make the playoffs. They lose Week 17, then there will be the 6th seed, because Arizona with our 11 wins, they could lose the next 2 games, be tied with Detroit, we would lose a tiebreaker, of course, because they beat us. So Lions would be the 6th seed, and then if they beat Green Bay, if they win out and beat Green Bay, or Green Bay loses the next 2 games or something like that, then Lions would look at either the 1st or 2nd seed. They can't get the 3rd seed because Philly or Dallas already have 4 losses, and Detroit wins the tiebreaker on that one anyway. So if they were both to finish, like whoever the NFC East is, if they finish 12-4, then Detroit would already get the 2 seed, because both of those guys have 4 NFC losses and Detroit only has 2. So Detroit would be the 2nd seed, and they could possibly get the 1st seed. Obviously, we would need Arizona to lose both of their games, and we would need Seattle to lose 2 games, 2 games, and obviously we would have to beat Green Bay. But there's a chance we could get the 1 seed. I think they're a lot higher, obviously, to get 2 seed, but the highest is the 6th seed, which would mean more than likely going to Philly week 1, or the first week of the playoffs. So that's it for me. Enjoy the game on Sunday. I think it'll be another fun one. I think we're going to blow them out and be able to sit back and watch that Dallas-Philly game, which is the biggest game for us outside of our game, obviously. So hit you guys up on Monday, check out the blog, follow me on Twitter, like us on Facebook, all that stuff. Like, subscribe, share, all that kind of crap. And hit you guys up on Monday. So go Lions.